the accused be asked to make their election. And in the event that for whatever reason there ought to be a delay, we respectfully suggest that, my Lord, should it be convenient to the court, we resume with this tomorrow morning for them to make their election at least. But that is a concession that is made in the event that for whatever reason we do not find favor with our submission that we ought to have the election made right now before we adjourn. That is all, my Lord.
Exceptionally, my Lord, my learned friend Suleiman Bukuruma wants to address the Lordship.
Well, there's nothing more you can say than you have been said. Something else, something no. What do you want to say?
With your leave and permission. No. What we want to say here is we have the optics here. This whole procedure is being covered live. And our learned friend there has made statements which insinuates that we may have been the cause of the delay. Your Lordship gave an order. Your Lordship wanted this matter to finish in record time. You gave orders for the prosecution to do so many things which were not done in time with the orders. Last of them all was the order that you gave for the response to the no case submission. Your Lordship indicated to this court that by January 20, if all applications are in, all responses are in, you will have delivered your ruling. They asked for an extension of time to January 31. And then that was the time they came in with their own case. And we commended your Lordship for the industry in able to, within 3 weeks, to deliver this ruling. However, your Lordship has given a detailed ruling this afternoon on the no case submission. We know the choices available to us in the election. That one, we can choose to even change our plea and say we are guilty. Or we can change our plea to say, yes, we are going to testify, but testify from the dock. Or we are going to testify from the witness stand and be cross-examined. Or we are going to testify, we are going to call in witnesses. But my Lord, as my landed senior indicated, the status of the fourth accused person has changed. He is not only standing here as the fourth accused, Samura Kamara, but he is also the leader of the All People's Congress Party, pursuant to an order of this honorable court. And being the leader of the All People's Congress Party, whatever advice as lawyers we have to give him, we have to take into account what will be the implication for himself and the party at large. So, my Lord, we cannot now just come and sit here and say, oh, he has to put on election, go to the witness stand, give us 10 minutes, and doctor, please, we want you to tell us whether he wants to testify, or whether he wants to call witnesses, or whether he wants to this. But Lord, the fact of the matter remains, we cannot shut our eyes to the judicial notice that he is the flag bearer of a political party that's going to contest an election in June. So as lawyers, we also have to be mindful whatever we take into account because it involves a public interest. So based upon that public interest, that's why we are saying, give us a date first, let us confer with our client so that we know which kind of election he will be put into. Then once that has been done, then we can now come before the court can give directives when each defense should start to open up their own defense. So my Lord, we are saying, my Lord, because of the judicial notice and the nature which has changed on the fourth accused, we want to grant us the time. Because this matter has now become a matter of public interest. It's no longer a matter between the state versus Samura Kamara, but it's a matter of public interest for the state of Sierra Leone. Because whatever be the outcome of this matter will hinge upon the outcome of the June 2024, June 2023 elections that we have to conduct. So because of that, that we are asking you to grant us the time so that we can show to our clients for him to make an informed decision what he wants to achieve when we come as to the election of what happened. That's what I saying, my Lord. That's all I wish to say, my Lord.
All right, look, you talked about the public interest. I have to look at the public interest, and I'm going to look at his own rights to have this matter out of the way. Because it will be most unfair for this matter to be going on whilst he's focusing elsewhere. Most unfair. And I certainly would not be doing that. This matter, as far as Mr. Kagbo has urged that we look at the prevailing circumstances, of course, we're not shutting our eyes to it. This is the reason for my stance that having regard to what has happened, we need to deal with matters quickly. So it gets it out of the way. The important issue is, as you know yourself, when a person is facing trial, they need to know their fate. Very important. For me, I am not going to be delaying matters for no reason whatsoever. If there's going to be a delay, it should be good reason for that delay. That said, I bear in mind the argument raised by Mr. Mancibo, and I have built in protections in line with Section 23, the necessity as raised, to ensure that the trial is not prejudiced in any way, shape, or form. Which is why, if you remember my starting point, I said I needed to have indications so I can better plan the trial going forward to make sure we don't get into a situation where you're going to need extended bits of time off. Because at the end of the day, whatever extended bits of time you grant, the matter is still hanging. And it's that issue that is of concern to me, that the matter should not be hanging over somebody going for such high office. And secondly, having a matter hanging over somebody who's going for such high office may arguably lead to disadvantage to him, because the reference will always be he has a case. And that is not right. So it needs to be cleared up. The deck is clear. If it's going to be acquitted, then he's free to go and do what he wants to do. So all of these matters are weighing heavily in terms of how we deal with this issue. And also, you talked about the public interest. I've got to think about the public interest of Sierra Leone as well, that contenders for high office, quote unquote, have a case hanging over them. That is affecting Sierra Leone as well. So we need to, yes, the wider picture. So the end of the day, yes, the prosecution has spent a lot of time dealing with this case. And if you will recall, Mr. Kumar, I think you mentioned it just now, I canceled 2 holidays that I should have taken to ensure that this matter was dealt with. I did not go on holidays for the past 2 years, thereabouts. Even the Christmas holidays, I could not take it because I wanted to get this matter dealt with. I put aside all the matters that I'm dealing with. As Mr. Mancibo mentioned, I got a full docket, but I put aside my docket to deal with this matter and to fast forward it. Because if I had not done so, by now we would still have been on a PW4. So, but at least we're where we are. I just want council to be mindful of the fact that time is not on our side. In the interest of fairness, as far as the fourth accused is concerned, I do not have an issue one way or the other. But what I would say is I have brought in mind what Mr. Sise said and yourself and Mr. Kagbo. I recognize that it is a difficult decision to take, having regard to the prevailing circumstances as to what to do. And as they said, it's either you do, you're done, you don't, you're done. So in those circumstances, Mr. Komar, you're the one who's raising the issue. I feel that as a matter of law and even practice, the question of election is not a matter that requires a whole week's adjournment. That's the starting point. That said, I don't have a problem. Upon reflection, I might very well grant an adjournment to enable you to look at the issues and then to come back with an election. As I said, I've put in a built-in protection to say after the locus visit, if there is a need to change election, I will entertain it. But at least that way, I have a clear mind and a clear pathway as to which way we're going to go in terms of dealing with the trial. But what I will not be acceding to is a whole week's adjournment just to go and decide what to do. So that's as far as I can go. Yeah, and in fact, I think I have sat here right throughout this trial, what I can certainly say is that counsel across the board have a clear grasp of the evidence. Clear grasp. There's no question about that. The nature and the incisiveness of the cross-examination on all sides tells me that all of you are fully affair with what needs to be done and the nature of the case against your clients. So in those circumstances, I'll adjourn this matter to tomorrow morning. We all are not sleeping. I did not sleep last night, so you're not going to sleep tonight. You need to get your client down, sit with them, and figure out what the elections are going to be. And then we're going to come back tomorrow. We'll deal with the elections. And then, as I said, I'm going to incorporate it into an order that if there's need to change elections subject to what happens in New York. Mr. Kamara, you're listening. If there's need to change elections subject to what happens in New York, I will entertain it. No, let him finish. He's on his feet.
What I want to say, again, judicial notice must be taken that yesterday, the fourth accused was standing on top of a vehicle from McLean to Freetown. As I have said, he has always been coming before the courts. Even when he went home by 4 a.m., he was able to wake up this morning and be here before 9.
Well, at least he went to bed and he got up. I did not.
What we are saying here, my lord, the adjournment wants to be for tomorrow will be too short.
Why?
We want to come on Monday.
No, why?
The reason why it is too short.
I need a good reason.
The reason why it is too short, first of all, we did not envisage that our no case submission will not be upheld.
No.
That is one.
No, don't give me that.
That's one. Secondly, my lord.
You're very senior counsel.
Secondly, my lord. We have to go through this ruling and show him the options. As I said earlier, my lord, he is no longer just Dr. Samura Kamara. He is now Dr. Samura Kamara.
Listen, no, look. The court, Mr. Kumar, the court have already paid due deference to that. Okay? But the criminal trial would need to be dealt with in accordance with the law. So I cannot have those extraneous considerations overshadowing the legal position.
The main reason, my lord, the ruling is on the 100 page and above. It is now 3 p.m. My lord, we cannot just say because of what we had in court, we have formed an opinion and then we say sit down here. We want to go through it and let us see the kind of, because when you come on election, you will ask next, now that you've elected, how many witnesses will you call? We will have to know whether we have to call 5, 10, or 15 witnesses. We don't just come and say, oh my lord, we elected. If that's the case, then we will not ask for an adjournment because we know that you will testify and call witnesses. But we want to know if you are calling witnesses, how many witnesses, when we receive this witness statement. These are all matters that have to be considered in our discussion.
Do we need to serve witness statement?
No, what I'm saying, my lord, we need to have the list of witnesses on them. My lord, whatever case we know as the lawyers, he knows the case more than us. Many matters have been dealt with by you in your ruling, interministerial council, civil servant. So we may have to know whether in fact we need to call 5, 10, or 15, and also considering the nature of the case before the court. Minus all of that things, my lord, he is not the only accused person standing here. There are other accused persons, and their defense and innocence is presumed and assumed by the Constitution. So we have to ensure that we do justice to the case. We don't just have to come and speak to everything. Oh yes, we have elections in June. Let us try to finish it before June.
No.
We have to ensure that the justice of the case is met.
No. That is not an acceptable statement, Mr.
No. I take it back.
No.
I take it back.
Hold on. Hold on. I will come back to you for that. Look, the issue here is this. Nobody is sacrificing justice at the court of speed.
As my lord pleases.
I've never done it and I will never do it.
Grateful, my lord.
But notwithstanding, I cannot ignore speed for other considerations.
As my lord pleases.
So I need to bear that in mind to make sure that this matter is out of the way, because for a whole year, my docket has been messed up. So that's another consideration.
So my lord, that's why we're asking for Monday. So that we meet with the client and then we know the number of witnesses, we know our case, we ask it. The day is far gone now, it's past 3. We live here, we have engagement, we have 12 other matters coming up by tomorrow, my lord. My lord, you can see we've been here since morning. So, I mean, we've not had the ruling in our possession. So what we are saying, because of the ruling that's been given, for us to come with a proper election and to show the court the number of witnesses we have, we're asking for Monday. From 1 week, we've now come to 2 days.
So do I take it that you're going to be calling witnesses? Is it so? That tells me that you know what you want to do.
Based upon what the conference we have, as far as we may have our instructions. Who knows? Maybe the guys might come to us and say, I'm guilty. Looks for no more witness. I'm telling you this case. How about that?
All right.
Frankly, that's just a summary that I mean, in all honesty, my Lord, I mean, first of all, we started by congratulating you for the time spent. So, my Lord, to have a halfway house, I think he offered tomorrow, and I was asking for a week. I think Monday will really be reasonable in the circumstances. The reason being,
I just knew that you were going to say that.
the same, because I mean that is why I said he probably took the wind out of my sail. But the point is, your ruling we will still need a hard copy of to discuss with our clients, because they are all literate. They may want to read it themselves, so that if there is anything that they did not pick up, and then they give us instructions. You know, but Mr. Matsibo, you asked for tomorrow, not so. He said if today is not possible, let's get tomorrow. I asked for a week. So if Monday can be the compromise, my Lord, respectfully give us Monday. I mean, we know you've been here since this morning. We have been going in and coming out. So you need to, I mean, probably spare it tomorrow as well. I mean, you have other matters tomorrow.
I don't have matters tomorrow. You see, you guys have the luxury. I don't. You see, we're back tomorrow.
But I'm sure the flag bearer will have a lot of work to do. To be a flag bearer is not.
No, that's all. Mr. Mansimo.
My Lord, maybe just to reiterate what you have just been saying. I think, given that my learned friends cannot actually precisely indicate to you what it is that they need all this time to make an election, not to prepare their cases. Their cases, they can have as much time as possible. But to make an election in a matter in which you have been in attendance since its inception, and in which you have made a no-case submission, and you say we still need to look at aspects. My Lord, with the greatest respect, I believe, and I would submit that justice demands that it be not delayed, and your indication for tomorrow as the date for their election is reasonable and appropriate.
No, frankly, my Lord, that is not a fair analogy. And I must say this. I can very well recall when Mr. Matsibo was about to close. He had called about 17 witnesses. He could not get the 18th, and we kept adjourning for him. We were all very understanding. At that material time, we did not push him beyond limit. We're just asking. I mean, Monday is not far enough. It is equality of arms. I mean, we know you are on the stronger side. I mean, but give us space to rearrange. I mean.
Council, I just need to make sure that everything we do here is in accordance with the law. So I'm going to rise for 10 minutes and I consult my archibald. I'll come back. Just rise for 10 minutes.
AYV is your home of credible country slow. We want for no, why not they grow? Yeah, hey, we want for no, waiting make we country they go slow. Waiting make we know they grow. Yes, so I can for sure. Yes, I can for sure them thing them way they make we know they grow. Then now we they die from if I they try for go before. I beg we are not make us slow. No. If I try for raise the tempo, do ya not make them low? Yes, so
AYV is your home of
if I try for go before, I beg
we pride ourselves
do ya
as the
not
nation's
make us
most
slow?
trusted news source. Because of this,
No.
our brand is likely to be
If I
used
try
to
for
spread fake
raise the
news.
tempo,
To verify our stories, please check our
do ya not make them low? Yes, so before they do them thing now we go make we gladdy, thing now we go make we happy, thing now we go make we country laddie daddy. So we go live in unity. Yes, so before they do them thing now we go make we gladdy, thing now we go make we happy, thing now we go make we country laddie daddy. So we go live in harmony. Yes, so don't before do them thing now we go make we smarter, thing now we go make we stronger, thing now we go make we nation last much longer. So we life them go better. Yes, so but we for left them thing now we go make we scatter, thing now we go bring palava, thing now we go make we nation well panambara, make we people scatter.
This kind of thing you talk about, I like them.
Thing them like half flavor blabber, political party wahala. Thing them we go make we agba, them put we country pan yakba. Sing along say hey, hey bo, we want for no, waiting make we country they go slow, waiting making all they grow. Yes, so I can for sure. Yes, I can for sure them thing them way they make we know they grow. Say now we did that, yes, so make we show them thing now we go make we kick po, thing now we go make we country go before. Mama, yes, so thing now we go make we grow, thing now we go make we left for go slow, make baby gladdy for Bobo show. Alright, so if I perform, me on perform. You say for gladdy for watch you watch. If I sing, me young sing. You say for gladdy for dance you dance. Before they do them thing now we go make we gladdy, thing now we go make we happy, thing now we go make we country laddie daddy. So we go live in unity. Yes, so before they do them thing now we go make we gladdy, thing now we go make we happy, thing now we go make we country laddie daddy. So we go live in harmony. Yes, so sing along, say hey, hey bo, we want for no, waiting make we country they go slow, waiting making all they grow. Yes, so I can for sure. Yes, I can for sure them thing them way they make we know they grow. Say now we they die from cold.
We the pray, but still things not the change. How we go before when we still get evil ways. Let we try to change your ways and let we love afraid. Yeah.